So good afternoon, everybody. So this is the second session for our, how we call it, Project Thursday, and this time finally it's on a Thursday too, where we go with you through the different tasks and jobs in an implementation of Acumatica for a customer. Last week I started it, and with the overview of our methodology and a few points we believe are very important to be successful. We recorded this session, so if you were maybe not on the call last week, you should have an email already with the link for the recording. If not, reach out to me or Natanai. We are happy to provide this to you. So today the second session is about discovery. And I mentioned this last week already, that this is a very important part of the overall project. And this is in the beginning where you need to try to understand what your customer is looking for and what they need. So Natanai will, our regional solution consultant in Bangkok, will present this today for you. And as always, if you have any questions, please click on the Q&A button on your screen, and we are happy to answer any questions that you might have. With this, I think I'm handing over to Natanai, and please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Thorsten. And thank you everybody to joining us today. Again, today is, as the mentioned from Thorsten already, that are the second sessions for the project implementation. Today we will focus on the project discovery topics to provide you information that once you have won the deal and you are doing the project to deliver the product to the customer, what the customer will be, what is going to be the keys to consider that you need to be covered on. And at this point, we need to focus on the build the relationship with the customer for your project that have long run for about 2 to 6 months when you are doing this kind of project with the customer. So let's introduction a little bit on this. The purpose of this course to explain the fundamental of the principle that proven the practice of Acumatica implementation, the delivery framework for the successful delivering the implementation faster and more yielding higher quality in the results. For the framework, that was designed to helping the partners to organize and understand the dynamic nature of the implementation project, which are all the projects are not the same, and the environment, and to provide the tool that you can use to deploy Acumatica. Why we have to implement the project delivery framework? There are a few things that to consider. In Acumatica, that we are recognized one size is not fit for all approach, which means all implementation, if you do the same way, it will not the best practice to do. There are the several considerations, the environment factors, the consistency of the effect to the projects. So the Acumatica was deployed for aiming to the mid-market, as you know, with the company which growing up, and the solution, for example, if they are using before the QuickBook or Sage 50, when they are migration to the Acumatica, we need to understand that Acumatica, and they also need to understand Acumatica is offer a lot more option for growing the companies like this. Therefore, there is more decision to consideration need to be made as you are doing the implementation. Per se, it is not the simple as the QuickBook implementation, which require the planning and just go through it. We cannot give the customer expectation like you buy refrigerators, you just plug and then it's gonna work. We should not give the expectation like that. So we should give them a clear part and clear requirement that to become successful in implementation and how it's gonna be. In Acumatica, delivery framework was designed to be scalable in the different project type. For the mid-market, when this mid-market is the largest market in the term of the customers, with the customer have also the different end of that spectrum. With this very different of the business need is depend on their industrial in the market when they are serving. So Acumatica want to help the partner organize to achieve the high level of the customer certifications. Recognition is not all for the company operations. They are not operate the same way. Therefore, approach to managing implementation is need to take consideration based on your client needs. The framework will be include a lot of the field tests, best practice work around the project management, in addition to tools that will guide you through the deployment process and configuration of Acumatica. So what you are seeing here is the solution delivery frameworks. In Acumatica delivery frameworks, the project life cycle will divide in seven phases. Sorry. It is possible in some phase it may occur multiple times through the implementation life cycle, as this case of the planning of the monitoring phase, for example. In each phase have the process that contain input, tasks, and activities that will provide the output or deliverables. On each phase will be discussed more detail through this course. I will talk about the high-level definition first. The discovery. The discovery is the consists of the process that help you to define the needs, the vision of the scope of the project, and obtain the commitment of the customer to continue further. So basically, without the discovery, you will not able to, without good discovery per se, you will not be able to cover all what they need, what they are really need to go for. This is most important thing to starting with. Plan and monitors. The consists of the process that involve the development strategies to complete the works, as well as measure the progress and take corrective action as needed. Analyze. A more detailed level of discoveries consists of processes that involve to gather detailed requirements and analyzing the client's business needs, which coming up with the desired solutions. Build. The involved process that carry the tasks that define in the strategies, build and configuration the solutions. Next, on stabilize. The consists of set of processes to ensure that solution is made to the customer requirement, and from this will be ready for true deployment in the live productions environments. This is also include the client readiness to use the solution that we are proposed to them. The deployment. The process that will be allow you to deploy the solution to the production environment. The last but not least, the post-go live. The process that are in place to support the client once they are go live and on the solution that we are agree with. And this process will lead to the project closure. So to remember this phase, as we will discuss along with the process that we go through this course. First, the understanding of the discovery processes will be important, and how to have, I will showing you that how you can have the successful discovery phase along with the key activities to become the deliverables. Why the discovery phase is important, as I mentioned before. The purpose of the discovery phase is to gain an understanding of the client business and the client processes. What is broke in their processes, and in the ideal world, what the process should be look like. Most of the times, they are doing something is wrong, but we need to understand it, and we need to propose the better solution for them. By understanding the customer pain point, relative the cost associated with the pain, you can estimate the better priority and justification for the project, because most of the projects are aiming to control the cost, reducing the cost, and improve the process productive. Next, the discovery process are involved that look into the company that will look into that require you to look into the company corporate structure, the line of business that you need to understand, the department, the product line, as well as divide to the process business, what they are using. They are using the procure to pay, issue to the solutions, the quote to cash. This kind of the processes we need to break down and then go through it. When is discovery to be performed? Of course, during the sales cycles. But let's go into the details. The discovery process is typically performed during the sales cycles. However, it may not always be feasible to have the complete discovery phase, especially in the case of the company have more complexity processes. For example, in my case, we sometimes use the discovery phase maybe a day or even a week. In this case, it is too difficult to justify allocating resources to perform discovery. That will be extend several days or several weeks during the sales cycle. It might be the best thing to do some initial discovery first to represent the customer with the proposal of the standard implementation projects with understanding of once discovery is complete. The purpose could be adjusted based on the gap analysis that you can use. Include the discovery as the part of the project. This is important. Rather than the sales cycles. Imply it would be viewable to the client also actually, but this should be well communicated with the client. Most of the client willing to pay for the discovery. If you set up the properly approach, and the client will have tangible deliverable as the results, and then they are willing to pay for it. Discovery goals. So basically, the discovery goal is to establish the common vision, what the prospect teams and the sponsor want to accomplish. So this is important, because if you are not on the same pages, and this will lead to the misunderstanding at the end. And this is most important that both teams, the project teams, the sponsor, they need to be on the same page. Either way, that they should have the same target per se. During these processes, the project goals, the risks consistent should be identified, and most importantly, need to be documented in a vision and scope documents. The discovery once is the most important aspect of the implementation frameworks, and it needs to be well planned out. It is discovery is sorry. It is quite difficult to gather the client resources and ask them to spend several hours with us for them to train us, to guide us to learning their processes. Sometimes it's difficult that they will say they don't have time to do this. They are not available to provide you a learning session or something like that for discovery. They are so this is take away their time of their business to give you this understanding. Therefore, you need to have to be well prepared as possible for these sessions. That means doing some upfront researching about the clients, learn their industrials, and prepare some intelligent questions, for examples. If they would ask some tough questions, and you be prepared for that. Step 4, the successful discovery. This is the sum of the best practice of the success discovery. I will describe about this one. And first, the establishing of the project team. This is important that the client understand who need to be participate in this session and why. When you don't set the expectations, you run into the risks because not having the right people in the right discussions who can answer your question or can give you a clear vision or describe the pain point. In the real life scenario, we run into many cases that we mixing up more than one role in the room, and then the discovery is more difficult because they are not all know the same thing, and then they are share not the same things, and this need to be organized a little bit. The client project team should include the subjects, the matter. The client project team should be included, and they need to be the expert on their process of their own processes and represent for all aspects of the business. The team members should have strong knowledges, of course, current procedure of their areas. This need to be clarified. And also, it would be good if you can have the active system users with the hand-on experience who is knowing what the system does right now and what is the limitation. The client project team should include in the project sponsors and stakeholders. The consulting teams should include the account managers and solution architect or business analysis. That's from Acumatica expert has to be complete appropriate training and certification need to be there. 2. Hold the discovery meetings. This is where the interview were conducted with the project teams to get in-depth understanding of the various parts of their business in the detailed levels. When you conducting the interviews, this is the best practice in circulate the agenda prior of the meeting. Include the topic of discussion. So you list it up, you inform them first what you're gonna be discussion, and then they can have the right people on the right agendas. Any other item on the project team need to be prepared or it need to be demonstrated. There will be no prior. Prior the business processes, it is good to have separate interview with the prospect sponsors. With the project sponsors, and understand the business goal, why they are looking for to change or why they are looking for to implement the new solutions. And what is the main problem that they want to solve. Next, the demonstration discovery questionnaires. In Acumatica, we have the discovery questionnaire as a part of the tool set that you can use as the guideline, and it will be ready. And actually, the tool set is not the complete form that you can attach to your email and then send to the customer and expect them to answer from the form that you have sent to them. But this means the tool will be more helping you to decide your questions, go through the processes.
This is a very important point, and I want to point this out too. So I personally didn't make good experience in just sending out the questionnaire and ask them to fill it in and send it back to me. The correct way, like Natanai said, is really being on site, sitting together in a room with the responsible people, with the people who have the knowledge about the business processes and the tasks they are doing every day, and going with them together through this questionnaire. So that's a very important point, Natanai, that's correct.
Yes, thank you, Thorsten. So let's continue on the next example for the questionnaires. So regarding to when you hold the meeting, this is important. The best practice to break the discovery meeting down by business processes. Please not mixing sales, manufacturing, services, or the financial together in the same meeting. You will get really confused, and all will be, the information will be so fractal, and then you are unable to organize in one pieces. This is important. So this will help you keep the discussion focused on the object and allow the project team to involve in the processes, understand it, and they can explain to you from start to the end. This is important to all project managers in their business processes. And this is also include the interviews. Some meeting may not include the whole project teams, but it's only the flow that are related to the process that will be discussed. It is only the way that we are make sure that they are not wasting their time, anyone that sitting there which are unable to provide any input. Yes, we would like to prevent this all the times. Some client may have to bring their document process in order to provide us the advantage on to seeing and understand on the relevant document during the meetings. They can bring the sample of the form that they are being currently used, or they can bring the sample of the report that they are currently used, and then we will go into this kind of relevant documents. This will help a lot. And in the slide display the example how you can break down the business processes and to be more organizable. As you see on the left side, you can see the sales processes that the mainly focus will be on the customer management, the lead management, the orders, and so on. And on the right side, in the last one, is on the field service, the issue resolution, for example, or the manufacturing, how they're producing the good from the raw materials, and so on. Let's go next.
So stay a moment.
Yes, Thorsten.
So this really depends on your prospect, right? So these sessions should be by department. So if they don't have manufacturing, it's logic, right? You don't do manufacturing.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really based on the prospect and their business. So what we don't have on here really is, for example, warehouse management, or so it really depends. A very important one that, especially here in Asia, I often miss in these discovery sessions is the session with the management. And why I'm saying it is you will need in the discovery phase and later during the whole project, and I said this last week in the session too, you will need the support of the management of the customer as high as you can get. So why making a session with them? For two reasons. You need to try to find out why they spend so much money. So it's not normal for a company. They are not buying an ERP system every month, right? So they
Yeah.
must have a real reason why they decide to buy a new system. So you need to try to find out, and only the management can tell you what is this reason. Maybe their business process is not okay. We had a meeting last week with a customer where they said, we don't know. It often happens that we send the wrong product to the wrong customer. So there's something wrong in the dispatch process, in the warehouse, in their business process. So they will for sure want us, to give an example, want us to help them fixing it, which is easy with Acumatica. You all know it, right? So this is one part, to try to find out from the management and make it part of your discovery. What's their main reasons to buy the pain points? The sales guys always, yes, call it pain points. I don't like the word much because we all don't want to have pain, right? No, it's for me, it's the reasons why they are buying. So if we can fulfill these reasons and focus on it in the project, it will make our life much easier. The second point is, what you need to ask the management is, what are their main things they want to control on a daily basis? I personally think the dashboards in Acumatica are one of our main strengths we have, and it's something to make users really very, very quickly happy with. So if you, from the beginning, can try to find out in a session with the management what you want to know every morning when you wake up. Oh, I want to know how much money I have in the bank. I want to know if there are any delayed deliveries. I want to know if anything stuck in the manufacturing process. Or I want to know who is not at work today. Whatever they will tell you, and you put this together and give it to this manager as a dashboard, you will make him happy already. So always include a session with the management as well. Try to get them. Maybe it's not, and maybe it's only one person, depends on your customer. Then try to get a one-on-one meeting and try there to find out what is this person expecting from the system, and what would be a great benefit for him to see in real time, all the time in the system itself in doing this. So this, I believe, is another important point in the discovery process, beside doing exactly the same with every single department. Try to understand how they work. And I assume Nat and I will show the questionnaire a little bit later. Try to understand how they work and ask these questions to understand more or less how we can help them in Acumatica in their business process and in doing their business. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And next, we are going on now on in the additional discovery meetings, the related processes that you have the session. We will dedicate it to also the data migration is also recommends. To identify the data migration requirement is in the early stage is important. To help set their expectations, to allow them to see, okay, we are well aware of your old data, and then this need to be migrated. Identify any risks or any risks that associate to the data cleansings that might be needs in the actions. So in this example, you can see is the list of the objects that need to be migrated that they have, and where are they, the sources, and estimate of the record by the numbers, and also the comment that you can have. These kind of things that you need to be prepared. And as you see, this help them to see how big it's going to be, how long it's going to take, what is the problem that they might expect to know or to fix it before, for example. Identify the potential gaps and risks, and also the solutions. This is important in the discovery. that you need to identify all the areas that are that current system does not meet the company needs. What is the big gap there that our solution can be fulfilled? For the advanced project that we have more complexity, prepare the gap analysis is highly recommended. Use the gap analysis working sheet that as the tool to gather and prioritize the requirements. This is important to measure the features, whatever it should be or not in the future phase. If the requirements it will require the customization, then the development estimation should be, and this one also should be included. Your findings should be identified and discussion with the client before you submitting your statement of work, so-called the SOW. And this is also important that set expectation and explain to the customer for the impact of the gaps will be have on the implementation based on what we agree, based on what you found in the term in the documentation, the term of scope, and also provide the cost and time. It is also important to identify the potential risks that would be directly impact to the project. The factor that typically represent the risks in the projects also can be include lack of the project resources, don't have enough people, lack of the management support, that lack of the sponsors. For example, the person is not pushed or they don't have the motivation to push this at all, or poor the data that need extensive cleansing. For example, the data is so fragile, unreliable data sources, or handwritten data, or data is not there anymore, something like that. It could be identified first. And the large number of the add-on solution. Please be aware of this when you are approached with the prospect that asks for too many add-ons or the large number of customizations. They need to be well informed how long it's gonna take, what resource is gonna be need for these kind of requirements, and also complex interfaces. In some case, you may want to suggest to conduct the proof of concept. So to allowing you to prove the solution to the customer that they approve before initiate any development effort, for example. Do you have anything to add into this?
Yes, it can be even more. So if this discovery is in
please.
during the sales process, and we are identifying gaps like Nai mentioned before, then we might be able to cover this with customization or maybe with ISV solutions that are out in the market, or maybe we can't. And this can be an outcome of a discovery. And every salesperson should be happy about this too. Then at this point to make a decision to walk away. Let me give you a simple example again. Today in the morning, I got an email from one partner who asked me if we have a solution for the oil industry. And this was all what he said. So I went back and said, can you send me some more details? What are the specific requirements and what is it there about? And then he answered this email back, and I didn't even understand what he was talking about. I never did this, right? And we never did this in Acumatica itself. So in this case, the right decision for a salesperson might be to say, let's not pursue this further because we nearly have no chance, because the prospect will see this too, right? We don't have a solution, and to customize so heavy is maybe not what they are looking for. Maybe it is, but maybe it's not. And then it might be a decision to say, what this customer asks us, or what we understand in the discovery, what they are looking for, we don't have. And then let's not try to go there further. So, and then it would be your responsibility to, if you do the discovery, maybe going back to your salesperson or to your manager and say, I'm sorry, but I did the discovery there, but what they are looking for is not Acumatica. I'll give you another example. I have at the moment a lot. It's asking me about offline access. So having a Acumatica solution in different locations, and some of them have no internet. We can't. In the end, the answer has to be we can't. We can come up with models where we have different Acumatica installed in different locations, and then we sync back the data between these different locations. But even sync you cannot do if you don't have internet, right? So this is something very difficult, and maybe then we are not in the right market if we are having discussions like this. So to summarize, what I want to say is, during this identifying of gaps and risk and potential solutions for your prospect or customer, one option might be to, hopefully always the last one, sorry, we can't. It's rare that it happens with Acumatica, but maybe the oil industry was a good example because we just don't have any solution for it. Okay?
Yes, that is the real scenario that happen time to time, actually. Yeah. For the requirements, and then which we are not really go into it, and the support is not there. Okay, so let's go next on our next slide. So prepare the vision and scope documents. So basically, the vision and scope document is provide the detail on all requirements gathered during the discovery workshop. It is important to validate the information with the client to ensure that we both are understanding the same way. For the vision and scope documents, is also included reason why the client initiating this project, and the success criteria need to have the statement right there. And this information will become really important throughout the project life cycle, because there's always that your customer might don't understand or would like to share anything. Then we can get back to this document and then to ensure that we are doing what is stated before, and then we can figure it out how we can support on the objective that they would like to share, or this objective is met their demand or not, this kind of thing. And also get the client's approval. It is also example important. And next is, let's have a look on the document with also the vision and scope document. This document is available in the partner portal. I believe all of us using it and they are seeing it before. Prepare the statement.
Just short to coming back to next week too. With these documents, don't take shortcuts. Really do it. So after you complete your discovery, summarize this in the vision and scope document, how you understand the business of the customer, and send it to the customer and ask them to confirm that your understanding is right. Sometimes we understand something wrong, right? And in the discussion, or sometimes even on the customer side, two different departments have different opinions, right? How to do things. This can happen. So document what you understand in this document, and send it back to the customer and say, to your main contact on the customer side, say, can you have a review, please, of this document and let me know if I understand this all correct? Because the document will be the base normally. If it's in the pre-sales phase, in the sales phase, it will be the base for the demo, to prepare the demo to the customer. So it should be shown on their answers you got during the discovery workshop, which means setting something up wrong because you understood something wrong, like I said, what can happen, will mean we show them something they don't want. and
Yeah.
maybe it can mean we lose the project. So so make sure that your understanding of the outcome of these discovery sessions is it's the same that the customer has. So fill in this document. Like I said, it's on the portal, and Nat and I recommend in the end of the session that we should show the discovery form and this vision and scope document to everybody on the call here, and really do it, fill it in, and send it back to the customer for confirmation. And some of you are coming from countries where English is not so common. It's totally fine to do it in local language, right? There's no requirement to do it in English as long as you don't need to be involved. So, or somebody from my team. So, and it's easy, and normally, yes, it will take you a couple of hours, but not so much work there, actually. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. And yes, as Thorsten just mentioned, for the documents, it's basically for the documents that we are providing as the standard guideline. So basically, we believe that you have your own version also, and this needs to be put against each other if you have all covered the basic thing from Acumatica document and your document. This needs to be up to date and compare against each other. So for preparing the statement of work, this statement of work is the legal contract that the client must sign before the work is begin. The SOW, so-called, is required for all the project and determine the terms, conditions of the engagement as well as all the pricing. The SOW is the part of the tool set that we have for you as the template. It's available for you. It's really easy, and it is a legal document that you should complete. So there's a lot of things that to considerations. I am sure that many of you will have your own SOW template. But in use in terms of the regular basis, I would recommend that you download Acumatica SOW template and compare against your own to ensure all the basic is covered. A lot of thought went into this document. It was designed to protect your organization as the main purposes. So do you have anything on the SOW document, Thorsten?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, thank you. And then let's go next for recaps that we just been through. During the discovery phase, the express the project, you have discovery, that meeting and preparing the statement of work, you can use the project. Actually, we have the project budget estimator in the system already, right? So I think we can skip this one.
Yes, it's on the portal.
Okay, and then we come to asking the correct questions.
We have one question, and maybe I answer this first.
Yes, please.
Before you go there. So let me read it so that I get it correct. So the question was, what if the customer understands that they are having issues to manage their business? However, they hardly tell us about their pain points during the discovery phase. What is your suggestion to resolve this? So it's two parts of an answer. So part one is speak with the management. The management will tell you, because they made the decision to buy something and they put money beside because they have a problem. So if they won't, they won't. So let me take an example. If you drive a car or you drive a motorbike and you are very happy with it, you don't buy a new one, right? So if you buy a new motorbike or you buy a new car or a new bicycle or whatever, you will have a reason for it. The same with a mobile, right? As long as you are very happy with your mobile that you have now, you won't buy a new one. So think about the same for a company. As long as they are happy with their business solution, and even if it's Excel or paper and they are happy with it, they have no reason to buy an ERP system. So I often ask partners, so what's the main reason why they want to buy an ERP? And they said, because they do everything manual. For me, this is not a reason. A reason is they have problems with doing it manual, and I want to know what are the problems, what is happening. Taking my example again, they are delivering the wrong goods to the wrong customers all the time. So something must be wrong. So, and management will be happy to tell you because they want you to help them fix it. This is why they want to spend money, right? Or why they put money beside. So that's one thing. Try to get the main points really from the management. From the users, I agree with you, and especially in Asia and in most countries here, they don't want to tell you where they have problems with or where things are going wrong. They like to tell you the good things, right? And everything this is fine. So you need to get this actually out of asking the correct questions, like what Nat and I will go through with you in the next step. And it will help you already. And this is how I personally do it. If I do a discovery, my first question is always, can you tell me how you work? What's the process? So coming back to the delivery of goods, right? So where do you know from what you have to deliver, where you find this, how you get this? Do you get a piece of paper, or are they sending you an Excel file or email? Or let them explain how their work is. What's their work process? So, and if they explain it, then you jump in asking questions and say, so how you make sure that if they just send you an email and tell you you need to send this good to this customer now, how you make sure that this is the right one. So try to follow up on the things that they are telling you with asking them these kind of questions. So if you go back directly and say, can you tell me your pain points? I agree. They very rarely will tell you, you know what, I think I do a great job here, but these are the 1, 2, 3, 4 points that's going wrong all the time. They don't want to speak about it. But if you start a discussion with them and then, so tell me, how is your business? How is this all working? And maybe even ask the question, so what do you think is really working very, very well? And then in the end of this discussion, you can ask, so what do you think maybe where you can improve, or where we can improve something in your process? Try to come from this side in asking questions, and let them tell about their job first, because everybody likes, or most people like a lot to speak about their job and what they are doing and how important they are for the company. And let them do this first. Let them tell by themselves first how things are. And when they are building trust with you, they will start then maybe telling to and say, but you know what, this is actually where I have a problem, and maybe your software can help me with this. So you need to build this kind of relationship. But your first contact point always has to be the management on doing this. Like I said, Nat and I will show the discovery form. We have a new discovery form that we provided. And maybe we do this first, Nat and I, before you go through asking the correct questions, because this will give you a better understanding how to approach asking these kind of questions related to this. Or I don't want to confuse your concept, Nat and I. Go on with your slides first, and then let's do the form up at the end.
Okay. Yes.
Go ahead.
So yes. So for the questions that Thorsten already explained quite a bit more on that.
1 second, I have another question. Yeah. Sorry, we do some questions in between. So okay. The question is about not putting different departments in one meeting, but if the understanding on one department in the process is different from another one, and believe me, whoever asked it, I saw this a lot, I know what you are talking about, it's different from another department, but they are referring to the same process. For example, supply chain perspective. They would want to automate the receiving of items upon dispatch, but from finance perspective, the record, the transaction of shipping and receiving separately, this will impact their financial reporting. And you are totally right. You cannot totally separate the groups. First of all, finance has to be in every session. Because everything a company is doing will affect their finance. So they have to be, the chief accountant or CFO or whoever they allocate has to be in these sessions. And if you take, for example, the receiving process, it will there affect the warehouse, it will affect the warehouse, it will affect the procurement, it will affect financials, like I said. Thank you, Nat and I, to take the question away from me now. So yes, so you need still to combine it. But for example, to have a payroll person sitting in your sales session doesn't make sense, or an HR person. So I would still do it by business process. Maybe to say it's, and the slide actually of Natanai showed it much more by business process. I would say build these groups by business process with all the people that are related and involved in this, and not by departments. So because yes, in every company there are a lot of tasks and a lot of discussion points that are related to it. And finally, one short example, but it's many years back, I had it in Thailand, where after one of these sessions, the CEO came to me and said, you know, my manufacturing department want to do it this way. My finance department want to do it exactly the opposite way. What do you think I should do? So the CEO asked me, and then I just asked him, I said, what's your business, manufacturing or financials? And then he said, manufacturing. I said, yes, so that's what you do. You need to do what supports your business and what make your business grow and doing things there. But this was a very typical example where you need to have the manufacturing people and the finance people together in the meeting. So I totally agree with your question. You don't separate it 100% by department. Do it by business process and get everybody in who is involved. Okay, Natanai, go ahead now. It's, I think now.
Thank you.
If more questions, please ask them. We will answer them in the end.
Thank you. So let's have a look on the example of the questions, that how is you should approach with the question that you've been asking. The poor questions and the better question. So basically, you should not try to ask the poor questions regarding to the yes/no questions. The better question should lead to you understanding their processes. Should not asking do they use this one or not? Do they use this one or not? Yes/no is not leading you to create the relationship on that. So let's ask about what type of the credit control do you offer, or what is the process that you are being prefer, for examples. This kind of the questions can be create, like I mentioned, can be create more relationships and create the trust on each other, and then they can help you more.
And you get into a discussion. This was the first question we had, right? So this is where it happens. When you ask them, so how you control the credit of your customers? And then they will tell you, so yes, our customers have credit limits, or we are blocking them if they are more than 30 days overdue, or whatever their system there is. But they will start talking with you, and they will explain this, and you will get into a discussion, and you build a trust relationship with the prospect or with the customer on this. This is exactly the same in a requirements workshop, actually, in the project itself. So that's the right approach. And then in the end, you might want to ask, and how is this always working, or sometimes problem with it that you have there? And then they may come back and say, oh, yeah, at the moment we have a book here. I have an Excel file where I control it, and sometimes I forget to check. So this is where you get them into, without they really realizing that they give you pain points or problems that they have, they still will tell you where you can help them with the solution. And if you take this into your demo later, then too, now we are going a little bit in pre-sales training, into your demo or into your training that you provide in your project, and show them exactly this and say, here, the system is now controlling the credit limit. And you don't have this problem anymore that you might forget to look this up before you send the invoice out. And do this. This will help them a lot. So try to, like Natanai said, I'm just confirming what he says, try to get them into a discussion. With yes, no answer, a discussion is always dead after it, right? You say, do you offer credit limits? And they say, no, and discussion is done. So try to word your questions more in that they explain you how they work. Try to do it in this way. Okay, Natanai, thank you.
All right, and then let's go to the still all good open-end questions. So the good example for these questions, so try to ask them also, like what is the restriction that they have currently are facing, what is the system that they cannot do, try to answer or ask what they are doing now, what they would like the new system to do, or these kind of things that lead to the another question or another answers that lead to the discussion. Next is here's the example when you do the check mark on what they are doing now, distinguish between what they wanted to do. So basically what they are doing now, they have the minimum orders, maximum orders, and what they would like it to be. They would like it to have the maximum margin, for example. Do the checklist, and then this is help you a lot to distinguish between the thing that they have, the thing that they don't. Next is the checklist of the example of the question. This is really good question actually. Ask them to, because basically if you ask them how your business are or how good your business are, they will struggling to answer because sometimes it's confidential question or they don't want to share this with you as per se. So let's ask them about how do you grow your business, for example. How do you increase the customer base? How the product in offers, for example. What is the international market? So describe, for example, to describe how the customer, or ask them how the customer vendor activity are being recorded. If they say, no, we are not recording anything, so this is also the pain point that they have already. That which means they don't have the CRM system, which means they don't know actually how many customers they lost this month. So try to ask them and try to get the point that yes, this is the thing that you are missing, and yes, this thing will help you. And also this is also some of the examples like how many customer you add per month. If they say they are not sure or if they say they don't know, this is also the selling point that you can get into it. And what is the competitive advantage? So for example, what is your advantage? The pricing advantage, brand royalties, for example. Okay.
And how you design the system, and can you go one back? How
Yes,
you
please.
design the system in your project or your demo, whatever it is, actually depends a lot on this on these kind of questions, because there you can impress, right? Even in an ongoing project. So if you ask how many new, so if in the slide before, if you go one back, I think it's a good story. So if they say here, how do you grow your business and this is what Acumatica is doing, in increasing our customer base. So we are focusing on getting new projects, right? And you as a partner too, I think. So it's, so the answer for, if somebody would ask me, I would say, I grow my business in getting more customers. So another company might say, no, I'm growing my business in keeping my existing customers and upselling to them. But in our example now we say, no, I want to have more customers. So then you go on the next slide. And then I ask, so how many you have new customers you have per month? And very likely they will say, I actually don't know. We don't really track this. So then you go, and then you actually immediately can, for your demo or for your setup in the solution itself, you put the dashboard up where you have new customers this month compared with last month, or KPI like this, something like this. And you impress immediately and say, wow. And they will say, oh, I want to have this. And so, and this is why we want to ask these kind of questions. So trying to use this approach that Nat and I present there at the moment in getting information that helps you to show them a real benefit of the system. And this will help you in the sales process to sell, but it will help you much more in a project that users who even in the beginning say, I don't want to change the way I work, maybe in the project suddenly say, wow, this is really great if I can get this information in the future, or if you solve this problem for me in the future. This is really the message behind this, how to ask these kind of questions, is trying to get information that help you to show off, right? What we can do with the solution. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Next, also the example for the questions, like describe the lead tracking processes, how you tracking the lead in your processes. For example, if they say they use the Excel file, just give them the example like, what if the Excel file disappears, or the one who work with you just resign, or they are not working for you anymore, so you're gonna lose all those leads. For example, try to create the feeling that if what if is happen, and how you can encounter or how you can protect or react to that. Also, how many customer you lose per year, like go back to the last questions that we are doing. So let them feel. Yes.
I think over 90% of your customers will say, I have no idea.
Yes.
I think nobody really knows it, because nobody really tracks it. But it's affecting
Exactly.
business, right? So I, for example, I know it. I know in Asia exactly how many customers I lost this year. Because for me, it's relatively easy to track, because it's customers who bought previously something, but they don't renew their subscription or their maintenance. So we are tracking this. But I think most companies out there are not. And it will help them a lot if we can provide them two things. And this is what you can suggest then, right? One thing is I can give you the number. I can give you in the future, if you use Acumatica correct way, you can see in the future every month how many customers you lose, and you can see why. So, which you as a manager might help to do something about it, to react, to maybe change something, to keep at least the other ones that if I lost 20%, to at least keep the other 80% and not lose the next 20% again next year. So you utilize it, these kind of information that you get out of these questions.
Okay. Yes, this is really good. Let's next. So in summary is that if you have a good strategies to follow, then decide what the question to ask. To select the question based on whatever interviewee is. So basically, sometimes you need to be flexible based on the interviewee. So basically, like the person who are really on the process oriented, or the person who are really value oriented. So let's next to see the different type of the people. So I choose
just one short addition from my side, because it's very important. In a discovery session, your prospect or customer should speak much more than you. Most of the time, you should just sit there and listen to them and document. I always recommend to go with two people. One who is answering the question and has the discussion, and the other one who takes the notes, because it's always a challenge if you have to do it by yourself, right? So that's highly recommended. But most of the time, you should just sit there and listen to what they tell you. That's the main strategy. Okay.
Yes, and in Asia also many times that I going with our partner, sometimes they are speak more than the customer. Actually, this is slightly to be wrong way to do, because you basically
it depends on the session.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If it is a discovery session, yes, it's definitely wrong. Yes. So the customer should tell you. If it's a demo, then you should be the one who talks and show them how to solve their problems. So yes, but I agree. I agree. I saw this too many times.
Yeah. All right. So let's have a look for example of the type of the person. I choose 3 type, and then we can have a look on it. So basically, you can encounter the aggressive person. Basically, the type of the goal-oriented, the care deeply about the bottom lines, or very structures, or result more than important in term of the person relationships. It's like they would like to do it, but they just don't care who will be suffer from that. It is also can see the aggressive persons. So how to spot them? Normally, you can spot them by really clearly goals and also confident body languages and speak loud. Yes, in this case, I believe so. They are most aggressive, and also declarative statement rather than the questions. So it's like, I want to have this way. This is the kind of the guys.
Now I'm coming back to the first question again that we had before, how to deal with people who don't want to give you really information. If
Yeah.
if you use this approach that we are discussing now, and you get them talking more than you talk because they're answering your questions and things, and if they are coming to a point where suddenly they start asking you questions, then you will win it, because they will ask you questions on the things where they have problems with, right? So if the finance accountants actually suddenly ask you and says, so how actually do you manage multi-currency in your system? How you update the exchange rates, and at the end of the month, so how you reevaluate the AR and AP based on the end? So then you know already, oh, this is something they have a problem with, right? They will not tell you I have a problem, but they wouldn't ask the question if this would be perfect in their life today. So this too, try to get these kind of personalities, try to get them really into a discussion, let them talk more than you talk, and try to get them to a point where they suddenly start asking you questions. And then you are on a great side, because out of their questions you can learn a lot. So with this person, I agree. This aggressive, straightforward. I like them because I'm a little bit the same. Straightforward person. They will just tell you what they want to have, and it's very easy for you. They are not easy
Yeah.
to handle, and they will never go out for a beer or a coffee with you after the meeting. But they will tell you exactly what you want to have. And I think best person to meet for a discovery. They will tell you the
Okay.
pain points.
Yeah, exactly. But so, and then next, that how you can work with them. Yes, Thorsten already described to you a little bit already, but also you need to be really prepared. So for the question that if you are not cannot answer some questions, they will lose the focus on you, or the effectively speaking. That's this kind of thing you need to be prepared for encounter this kind of person. And next is the analytic persons. So basically, they love to see the data. They are really good at researching. Like they will know a lot of things already, and more logical than any others. So stick to the deadline and so on, because they most probably people with the financial style. So, and how to spot them? Yes, less expressive. So basically, they are not really to be expressed the body language and so on. They're just sitting there quiet, and they're concerned about the facts rather than the figures. And serious direction, really good listeners. So basically, according to they're doing so many researches, and they are really good listener too. And how you can work with them? Yes, of course, never rush them, because it's going to be long sales cycles, for example, and always provide the data that make them see through it, make them understand it. Assume they have done a lot of the research already. So please try not to go into the area that you are not really prepared for, and try not to be too overly friendly. Give him some space and be really professional. This is you can encounter. And this is two personal type that I would like to give the examples, and then I would give back to Thorsten that we is there anything that we would
Yes,
like
I would
to?
like you to show the discovery form chart,
Yes.
if you have this available. So, and we can share this with you too. So, like I said, while Nathaniel is looking for it,
Yes.
like I said, the approach, our recommendation for the approach is to try to get them into discussions in the discovery sessions. My personal experience is the best way of doing it is, like I mentioned before, try to let them explain their business first, their process first. Let them talk about their job. What are you doing every day, and where you get the information from that you need, and how you do this, and what tools are you using to do this. So let them explain to you what they are doing there, and then go with them concrete through the questionnaire that Nat and I will show. We call it discovery form, and we are happy to share this with you. And try to get them on the points that you ask in this discovery form into a discussion. And so they will tell them their pain points, maybe more than by accident than they would do it if you ask them directly, so what's your pain point? So this, I think, should be the strategy in trying to make this more a discussion in which you are more the one who is listening and let the other party speak. And I mentioned this before. Normally it's not so difficult because most people like to speak about their job and like to tell you how good they are and what they are doing there. The discovery form, sorry, it's not on the
Rodis?
no, it's not on the portal.
It's in version already, right?
I sent it to you by email. So let me just open it, and can you stop sharing, and then I will do it.
Okay. Stop share.
So I'm just opening it, and then I will show it to you. So Nathaniel, let me know when you can see my screen.
Not coming up yet. Hold on a second. Okay, seeing your screen now.
Yeah, so this is a discovery document that we prepared specific for Asia. And we are starting pretty straightforward with basic information, which is actually good from a strategy perspective too. You will ask them first for the real company name, how many. So you see the partner information first, so fill in your own partner information. So and then you ask them what's the real, who is the main contact person, what's the job, email. So this is how you start first breaking the ice, we call it, and starting to get into a discussion where they have no problem at all to answer your questions, right? So that's an easy one. So, and then you ask them maybe to provide, from their point of view, a short company overview. So what's your company doing? Who are your key customers? What are your main products? And a little bit high level, let them start talking about their business. So, and then it's some more information about, and this is more really pre-sales related, what we call sales qualification. So do they really plan to have a project, or are you just there and wasting your time? Why are they looking for a new system? I mentioned this before already. So asking these kind of questions, I'm not going through every one of them now, just want to show you high level the structure, and then we are happy to share this with you later. So then ask them some question about their current system, and this is where you let them ask telling you. So we are working at the moment with QuickBooks, and my problem is that the Excel files that we are having there, that's all not integrated, and this is where they might start already telling you about a few of the problems that they are having now already. So then we try to find out if they prefer SaaS or PCS or PCP as a deployment method. And sorry, my dog was actually just jumping on my keyboard. I know it's funny. I didn't think it is, but I should find it back. So we had the company and project information. So get a few information about the current system of the prospect. If they want to be cloud, or if they still want to be on premise, and maybe if they are looking into other projects. So, and now we are coming to the main part. Like I said, a lot about the people involved on their side. So who is responsible for finance, who is responsible for your warehouse, who is responsible for your manufacturing process, and so on. and a little bit about the planned project. And then we are going into details really of the topics and start asking them some concrete questions where they will be happy to share this with you. So if you ask about the calendar year they are working.
Hello? Hello? Thorsten, I think we lost you. Hello? Hi, Dan.
Yes.
You lost Thorsten, right?
Yes, I think sometimes he have a problem. So wait. I think wait me 1 minute or 2 minutes. He will back.
Okay. Yep. Hold on a second. Let me send the message. No, it's not coming back. It's unfortunately. Yes, can you hear me? Yeah, for some reason. I only can listening to Dan, but not from your side. I'm not sure if you are listening to me. No, there's no sound at all. Not sure what happened. Yes. Please take over. Yeah. Let's close the meeting. Okay. Yes. So it should be fine. So basically this is pretty much on all the things regarding to the project discussion, this discovery, the project discovery. So I would like to close the meeting now, and any questions that you would like to ask, so please send me an email directly, or you can email directly to all of us. I think Thorsten's coming back, and you're gonna say anything when we're closing now, Thorsten? Oh, you still mute your microphone. Hold on. So, and yes, here is my contact. So you still can contact me anytime. So you mail me or put Skype on me, and then we can answer your questions or anything would help. Thank you very much and enjoy your days. So I will close the call. Thank you for joining. Goodbye.